Vasistha continued. After listening to all this, the fourfold Vipascit worshipped the fire. The fire god appeared to them. They prayed to him. We wish to behold the universe composed of the 5 elements in its totality. Grant that we may do so, and that we may not die till we have seen all, as much as possible with the physical body, and beyond that through the mind. The fire god granted this boon and vanished. So Vipascit represents the fundamental voracity of consciousness, which wants to experience and comprehend. This is the nature of Vipascit, and what he's done is he's split himself into 4 so that he can go off in all the directions. And this is very much the modern mentality. Explore, question, comprehend. Now that we've explored all 4 directions in the modern age, we go into the oceans, into outer space, and we explore through telescopes and huge machines which break down matter into its most fundamental components. This is consciousness. Consciousness doing its thing. Rama asked, Lord, how was it that though the fourfold Vipascit was but one person with a single consciousness, the 4 of them entertained different desires? So Vipascit the king split himself into 4 beings to go and conquer the 4 directions. So the question is now, is he one or is he many? This question could be asked generally. Consciousness is one, and yet it appears as you, me, and everybody else, entertaining different desires. How can this be so? Well, let's see what Vasistha says. Vasistha replied, though consciousness is one, non-dual and omnipresent, it seems to become diverse, like the mind of the sleeping person. This is the person who's dreaming. Even as the mirror reflects diverse objects within itself because it is pure, even so consciousness, being absolutely pure, reflects everything within itself. Though mirrors may be made of the same metal, they reflect diverse objects in one another ad infinitum. Similarly, consciousness reflects within itself whatever is placed before it. It's also like the crystal with its many facets, reflecting different colours within itself. Thus the diverse appears to be one, but it is both diverse and non-diverse. So we could describe the crystal as either diverse or non-diverse. Because it is neither diverse nor non-diverse, it is both diverse and one. Therefore, whatever appeared before each of the 4 Vipascits reflected in his consciousness and was experienced by him. Yogis can perform actions everywhere and experience all things in all the 3 periods of time, though apparently remaining in one place. So the yogi is also like the crystal with many facets. And more will be said about the yogi in chapter 125. The yogi is supposed to have all sorts of powers, but really the true yogi is one who realizes the nature of consciousness, and it's like this multifaceted crystal. Water, which is one and all-pervasive, does several things at the same time, and seems to undergo diverse experiences. So it's H2O, but it can take many forms, whether it's as ice or steam, but also it can be a water jet, it can be a tidal wave, it can be a paddling pool, it can quench thirst, it can deliver poison, it can deliver infection, whatever. The one Vishnu with his 4 arms or 4 bodies performs diverse functions in protecting the world. A being with many arms holds something with 2 arms, and with the others kills that thing. It was in that manner that the kings Vipascit engaged themselves in diverse activities. It's also like being able to drive and talk at the same time, the centipede being able to move dozens of legs at the same time and coordinate them. Consciousness is multifaceted, even though it's one. They diversely slept on the grassy beds on earth. They lived and enjoyed themselves in different continents. They sported in different forests. They roamed the desert. They dwelt on the peaks of mountains and in the bowels of the oceans. They sometimes hid themselves in mountain caves. They sported on the oceans and in the wind, on the waves as well as on the seashore and in the cities. The Vipascit who went east slept for 7 years on the slopes of the Sunrise Mountain, on the continent known as Shaka, for he had been charmed by the celestials there. Having drunk of the water that was in the rock, he had become like stone. The Vipascit who went west to the Sunset Mountain on the same continent fell a victim to the charms of a nymph who enjoyed him for a whole month. The Vipascit who went east remained incognito in the turmeric forest for some time. On account of the charm of a celestial, he lived as a lion for 10 days. Of a powered goblin, he lived as a frog for 10 years. The Vipascit who went north dwelt for 100 years in a blind well in the Nilgiri mountain in the Shaka continent. The one who went west learnt the method of becoming a celestial and lived as a celestial, a Vidyadhara, for 14 years. So they're getting their boon. They're experiencing what is to be experienced.